Madam Mayor, the draft budget, UGU draft budget for 2014-2015 was discussed in Council today, and you gave an introduction and you told us all about it. Give us a summary. What do you think the highlights are of the budget?
Good afternoon, Johan. I think, Johan, the highlights of the budget is mainly to cater for the communities of UGU, but also bearing in mind that we cannot be extravagant with the meager resources that we have, bearing in mind that whatever we are using is mainly coming from the government grants. And with the government grants, it's money that you have to spend before the end of the financial year. So most of our budget is based on the government grants, and therefore whatever we have on the budget should be used by the end of the year. I'm talking here about, for instance, your MIG grant and so on. And you also have an equitable share, which is mainly meant to be used for operational use in the municipality.
And in coming on, in the wake of the disclaimer of the previous one, it must have had influence in the planning.
Absolutely. When we talk about a disclaimer, that was a major disappointment for us. But also we could not dispute it because that was a reflection of our own operations and our reporting, and therefore we had to accept it. And in responding to the disclaimer, we had to have a strategic plan of how we deal with the disclaimer so that it never comes our way again. And therefore, whatever we've budgeted for here is also informed by our turnaround strategy that we have developed to make sure that we don't encounter the same again.
Madam, before we go to the CFO for some finer details, where do we go from here now?
The next step from here, since our draft budget has been approved by Council today, it means taking this draft budget out to the communities. Going out to the communities will be telling them this is the amount that we have, and this is what we intend doing, like I have elaborated on my budget, on my draft budget speech today. So we'll be going out with the same information to the communities. In the communities, it's part of it is delivering our budget, but also interacting with the communities so that they can be able to tell us that if you say you are, for instance, going to build toilets for us, how many are you building? And the rest, when is it coming? They will also be coming with their own proposals in the process. That is exactly what I mean.
So it can still be adjusted after some input?
It is, yes, we can still adjust it.
Okay.
According to the needs according to the prioritization of the. Remember also what we have here. This will not be the first interaction with the communities. Whatever we have here on the budget is informed by the imbizos that we had before the end of the year with the communities, where they were giving us more information on the community needs. But again, the community will never say we have had enough. They'd always say we want more, we want more. And out of that, you do your own analysis, identify the most urgent needs that we can address in the same budget, which would mean then you come back and adjust such that you meet those needs.
Madam Mayor, thank you very much. We go now to, on my right-hand side, we have the CFO of UGU, Sibongile Msibi, am I right? Mbili, sorry. Now for some detail, you give us some detail on the budget. You know how you, the highlights and what you think is important.
Okay, I will add on what the mayor has already said. The highlight for me, I would say, is the proposed increase, because I think the communities will always want to see it being lowered every financial year. whilst we are also not undermining the current economic challenges of the communities, we must also take into account the increase in our own cost of providing the services. And in the water services provision, our biggest costs are currently coming from electricity and the bulk water that we buy from Umgeni. So in calculating the 5.5% increase, we have considered the affordability levels of our consumers, but we have also taken into consideration the general price increases. I think the communities must also appreciate that even though we are proposing a 5.5% increase, in our own general operational expenditure, there has been a decrease because we are still mindful of our cash flow challenges and we are still implementing the turnaround strategies that the mayor was referring to, and we are still wanting to cut back on our expenditure and cash back our reserves.
But Ms. Mbili, also the mayor mentioned the salary budget, that it's still a problem and a worry. Anything you can tell us on that? Have you tried to cut down?
Okay, on the salary budget, unfortunately, the increase in the salary cost are negotiated at a bargaining council level. And with the numbers that we currently have, we had to factor in the 6.79% increase in terms of that negotiated agreement, which is still in force. So even though there has been savings in that during the financial year when some of the positions were vacated, we did not appoint staff to fill those vacant positions. There has been saving in that, but with the 6.79%, there is a slight increase from our salary cost compared to the last financial year.
And you've inherited, have you, 16 from the Department of Health?
Yes, there are also 16 staff from the Provincial Health Department that will be joining the municipality. That has also contributed to the increase.
Aren't you duplicating now? Duplicating, in other words, jobs?
No, unfortunately, the functions that the staff were performing whilst at Provincial Health are actually functions that have been allocated to the municipality in terms of the allocation of functions to provincial and local government. So what they were doing there, they were doing on our behalf, and they must now do it, continue to do it, but under the umbrella of UGU. So it will not be a duplication.
Okay, all right. And then at one stage there were also a worry about unnecessary travel allowances, etc., for the staff. Has anything been done about that?
Yes, the car allowances policy has been reviewed from what it was in the previous years. We have started implementing it. The current staff who were receiving the allowance are now expected, or let me just say we've put in more controls to cap that expenditure. And in us reviewing any new requests for travel allowances, we will now base it on the new revised policy, which we have drafted, being aware of the challenges that were posed by the old policy.
Okay, and in conclusion, anything else you'd like to highlight?
Just to say that what we tabled today at Council were proposals. We are going to be embarking on a stakeholder consultation, and we urge communities to attend the meetings and give us input on what we are proposing, because those inputs will then inform what will be finally adopted by Council in May.
Thank you very much. We just want a last word from Madam Mayor.
No, thank you very much, Johan, for this interview. It was very important. And I think what CFO is saying is very important, that when we go out to the communities out there, it is very important. Their participation is very important. And also, I want to say, I didn't mention this one, that water and sanitation remains our core business. And therefore, we are saying as a district, in whatever we do, we will try and improve, if need be, in terms of delivery of water and sanitation. And also, as I highlighted in the speech, we're almost done with the VIP latrines in the district already. In 4 municipalities, we have got 100% coverage. And we're only left with about 30% of the 2 municipalities, the bigger municipalities, which is Umzumbe and Hibiscus Coast. And we can already pride ourselves with that, because it means we are actually spending the government money very well in terms of the needs of our communities. So we are again saying to the communities, please do come to these meetings. It is very important, because community participation forms a major part of our daily practice in the municipality.
I want to slip in one last question, because I'll be failing in my duty if I don't do so, on behalf of the people out there. The problem is not so much when there is a water breakdown or a breakdown in water service, but then the big hassle is being told what is happening, in other words, communication. Is there going to be any improvement on that one? You know, people being told exactly what's happening?
Unfortunately, Johan, when a pipe breaks now, it becomes very difficult to convey that kind of information to the community. But if it's a long-term issue, then it means that has to be communicated to the community. However, SMSs are very often sent to the stakeholders when there's a pipe breakage, especially in the urban areas. Those messages are very often sent out to the communities. However, we are not there yet. The communication in our municipality is a major issue, and we are saying we are definitely going to improve on those.
So your Facebook effort is working very, very well. But the main problem is when people phone the center, the media center or the complaint center or whatever, the phones just keep on ringing. Or when the people answer, they don't know what to say.
Now, we are looking into that as well. That has been our major challenge. And currently, our staff are working tirelessly to try and improve that department. In fact, on a lighter note, I've made my own cell phone available to most of the communities, Johan, so that when there are problems, I can also assist.
I'm going to take you up on that one. Anyway, thank you very much. I'll be grateful for your time.
No, thank you very much, Johan. I think this interview was very important.
Thank you.